Welcome back students. I am your SST teacher Vandana Joshi and you are watching SST June. Students, in our last video, we have studied about the marginalization in which we have discussed about the Adivasis and the tribal communities. We have also studied about a case study of Santali family of Soma and Helen. Today, in this chapter, we will study about the minorities and the categories of the minorities. So, let's start our today's chapter. So, first of all, in this chapter, we will discuss about the development in the Adivasis or other minorities and the marginalized people. As already we have studied, there were many types of stereotypes during that time. So, now how these marginalized people were developed? As the preamble of the Constitution promises to secure social, economical, and the political justice for all Indians or the citizens of our country. Every citizen is entitled to the fundamental right of equality and freedom, the right against exploitation, and the right to constitutional remedies. Article 17 of the Constitution forbids the practice of untouchability, while Article 15 forbids discrimination on the basis of religion, race, caste, etc. Students, if you have remembered in 7th class, you have studied in the first chapter on equality about a caste and race-wise discrimination, about which in America a movement was created that is known as the Civil Rights Movement by Rosa Parks. Student against these type of exploitation and discrimination, which is according to caste, race and religion wise, and many reforms were also created in our past. By seeing that our constitution also decided with the first amendment in the constitution which was passed in 1951 allowed the state to make special provinces for the advancement of socially and economically and educationally backward peoples. These backward classes are scheduled caste and the scheduled tribes. The Constitution aims to protect the marginalized section through a threefold strategy, and that strategy is number 1, by providing measures that would ensure equality and abolish discriminatory practices. Number 2, by acts of positive discriminations where preferential treatment is given to the marginalized section. And number 3, by providing resources and benefits for the overall of development of the marginalized sections. The idea of welfare society, states and the social justice are enshrined in the Indian Constitution. Here, all kinds of inequalities are abolished. The constitutional safeguard to all marginalized as few articles. These articles are Article 16 that ensures equality of opportunity to citizens in matters relating to employment or appointment to any office under the state. However, the state can make provision for socially and educationally backward classes which are not adequately represented. Article 17 forbids the practice of untouchability in any form. Number 2 is Article 23 and 24 that provide for two provisions. Number 1, prohibition of forced labor and prohibition of employment of children below the age of 14 years in dangerous jobs like factories and mines. Number 3 is Article 32 that is, empowers all the citizens to approach the Supreme Court of India to seek enforcement or protection against violation of their fundamental rights. And number 4 is Article 46. It says the state shall promote with special care the educational and economic interests of the weaker section of the people and in particular of the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes and shall protect them from social injustice and all forms of exploitation. As far as the constitutional provisions for safeguarding the interest of the minorities are concerned, every effort is being made to facilitate them besides preserving and maintaining their cultural identity. There are two more articles, Article 29 and Article 30. These are also providing a facility and protecting as a safeguard of the minorities. Now let's see about few new minorities. As according to survey of 2011, Muslims also considered as the marginalized in 14.2% of India's population. Students to watch it, if you will see in these charts, these are showing the facilities of different communities. These are also showing the literacy rate and the public employment of these communities. These communities are all considered as the minority. If you will see in this first chart, it is according to 2008 and 2009 census. In one column, it has been given the religious communities as Hindu, Muslim, Christian, and Sikh. Here, you can see in the second, third, and fourth column. In the second column, it is about the Pakka houses. The percentage is shown. In the second column, the electricity facility, and the third column is the tap water. So it is showing the communities which type of facilities they are having right now in our country. If you will see in that same second chart, it is showing the literacy rate by religion according to 2011 census in the percentage. Overall, there are 74% literate peoples. Out of them, 63% are Hindus, 57% are Muslim, 74% are Christian, 67% are Sikh, Buddhista are 71, and Jains are 86. Now let's see in the table number 3, which is showing the public employment, means the government jobs of the Muslims in the percentage. The total population which has been shown by the census of 2011 is around 13.5%, in which total 3% are IAS, 4% are IPS, 1.8% are IFS, and 3.3% are in the PSU, 10.8% are in state PSU, and 2.2% are in the banks and the RBIs. Here, if you will see, the minority means not only one community or one religion. Minority, whether linguistic or religious, are those whose number is less than the people belonging to the other religions or linguistics groups in a particular regions and the country. As you have seen in the list, out of all the communities or few religions or few linguistics were less. So they all will consider as the minorities or the marginalized people. As we know, India is a country of enormous size and the diversities. Keeping this in view, special provisions have been marked in the constitution, as you have seen earlier also few articles, and the right to equality, right to freedom, right to liberty, and the constitutional remedies are some rights which have been given by the constitution to the people in our country. Also, we can say it has been made by the constitution to make the ideas of the secularism and equality in our country. About secularism, you have already studied in our second chapter of civics. In practical, we can say that every effort is being made by the government to protect the interest of the minorities as well as the marginalized people. A minority commission also been formed by the government to protect them, or to set up by the government to protect the rights of all the minorities and the people. Those are known as the scheduled tribe and the scheduled caste and the other backward caste. The government of India is also decided few more communities, protect them and to make them up to the level. The government provided many safeguards to the minorities and to the marginalized peoples. The Constitution of India, even it is also gives power to the President of India to nominate two members of the Anglo-Indian. These Anglo-Indians are not from the common community from our country, but it provides a right to the President to select any two Anglo-Indian communities in the Lok Sabha. In the Lok Sabha, if that community has not been able to get representation through the elections, means these people are not elected but these are being selected by the president, so that the constitution is giving right to each and every person, as our country is a secular country, and also it is giving right to each and every person to be maintain their status, their equality, and nobody can be discriminated in our country. Even to protect all marginalized and the minorities, the constitution directs the government to make special provinces for the weaker section to being up to the level of gender society, and it is known as the reservation policy. Accordingly, the reservation policy is working in that manner. In this, we can say the government has provided them relaxation in qualifying marks, in written examination, and in interviews. Relaxation in upper age by 3 years in direct recruitment has also been provided to OBCs. The OBCs have been provided relaxation to clear the civil services examination in 7 attempts. These are some of the steps which has been led by the government for the social justice for the OBCs. According to the advice of Mandal Commission, which was set up in 1979, the government reserves an additional 27% over and above those reserved for SCs and STs of government jobs and seats in institutions for higher studies for the OBCs. So it was a policy which has been introduced by government under the Mandal Commission to protect the right of all the minorities and the marginalized people, and this is known as the reservation policy. And apart from these all things, in our country, one more thing is in practice in earlier times, that is known as the untouchability, about which we have already studied in our 7th class in the chapter on equality, and which was about Om Prakash Valmiki, who was a famous writer. Okay, so to abolish that untouchability, our constitution is also having some safeguard, and to remove that, many reformers were also there. Those have been done work against the untouchability. The famous one were the Jyotiba Phule, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, who has framed our constitution, and that Mahatma Gandhi also played a big role to remove the untouchability and inequality from our country. So students, here our chapter is complete. Hope you understood it. We will study more about these things in our upcoming chapters. So for that, keep watching SST June.